Yo, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to P News, man. Listen, welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Church of Jesus Christ, not a bitch made nigga. You know, last night I was on a live stream and I was hanging out and I was handling my fucking business. Like, and this is 100%. Like, I was in there, I was getting it in. I was talking with some heavy duty religious guys who were like writing books. And I came in and I was like, yo, look. And because they were arguing about like, well, who was like proper about, you know, like who was standing here doing the right thing religiously between, you know what I mean, different peoples and religions and all this shit. And I was like, the truth of the matter is like what you're doing is you're standing here like reading each individual's customs, right? From like, or like each people's customs. And that's the difference between like whether you're supposed to live this way or this way. What are you supposed to eat? What are you supposed to do this? That's all just custom shit from cultures. Right. In the end of the day, these are people of different cultures who live in different places at different times. And these supposed like God's laws mentality of that type of shit is something that you kind of got to look at a different way and understand that like these people were living this way before they were Hebrews and before they were Christians. They were living in a different manner, or they were living in that same manner that they were living then. And they're standing here and we're standing here going back and we're looking at them. And these ideas of like what we're supposed to do as people and all that type of shit is nonsense. It's just like our laws. Our laws are nothing more than like the fortifications of our cultural ideologies, right? It's like our standard practices being enforced, right? Of each of our own culture. And you can say, oh man, listen, there's a lot of things about like, you know, fucking the fucking laws that like come out of Christianity. And I would tend to agree with you. Right. But the truth is that, you know, that these are practices that come from living inside of towns and cities that bled into the fucking religions. You know what I mean? Because like you had the same type of like laws and customs that just regulated to be able to have people be able to live in a fucking like environment of being in a village or a town or being a part of like a fucking community or a kingdom that you would have. Like, these are the same rules everywhere. I mean, it's basic. Like, you don't law, you don't steal, you don't kill, try not to lie, all this type of shit. It's basic. What do you go? By the way, my boy TK's here. TK, what do you think, man?
I think that this would be obvious to anyone who had read Corinthians, because like a major part of Corinthians and a lot of these books in the Bible is like saints or these the apostles writing to these newly converted communities. And one of the big questions on a lot of this stuff was like whether or not these people could eat pork or if they had to circumcise their kids or this type of thing. And what you got to understand and what it came down to is that just because that these people were Christian now didn't mean that they were supposed to adopt all of the cultural practices of the Jews, the Hebrews, right? They were Christian, which means that they had to kind of Christianize their own culture, right? Which means that, you know, they don't need to, you know, do the circumcision thing. The dietary stuff is going to be different. You can't have the same level of like shrimp and fasting and this type of thing in certain areas because you don't have access to like Mediterranean food. And so
By
you're
the way,
not
what up,
wrong.
yo? By the way, what up, Ballistic? What up, Jewish? Nice to see you in the chat. Yeah, I know I'm not wrong, right? And like everybody agreed with me about that. And then we had a dude come in who did the whole like, dude, man, you know, if people went to war and all the soldiers just they laid down their arms, man, in the name of Jesus, like everything will be better, man. And I was like, bro, listen, first off, Jesus Christ was not a bitch made nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Jesus Christ was not a punk, right? He said literally, like, yo, if you have a cloak and don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy a sword, right? Like, real shit, yo, literally, it's like 50 cents saying, get your strap. There's no difference, bro. Like, yo, Jesus stood there and he went and talked to goddamn soldiers. And when the soldiers came to him and said, Jesus, we're soldiers. We want to go to heaven, right? But we kill people. And it's like, listen, you're not murdering motherfuckers. You're killing people, right? Because you're a fucking soldier. It's what you're supposed to do. That's your job, right? Like, yo, because Jesus wasn't a bitch. And this is the problem with the modern church, is it's just a bunch of bitches. Right? It's literally like, it's like, be a lamb, be the sheep. Nah, bro. Like, you need to be the right hand in the fire of the Lord sometimes. You need to go over here and slap the bitch out of motherfuckers from time to time. Am I wrong here, TK?
Well, the problem with the modern church is that it's being taken over by and large by women, and you end up having the same problem when women take over this type of institution as when they take over like academia. And a rule of thumb that I do like that I just picked up, which is you can't, if you pathologize the actions of one sex, you have to pathologize the actions of both sexes. Like you have to be even-handed on this, right? So what ends up happening is when women start to take over an institution, regardless of what it is, be it the church or academia or a government institution, what ends up happening is that when women take over an area, it selects out the hardest dudes because they can't thrive in an environment where it has to be good for a woman, right? And so what ends up happening is you get these bitch made people, like you get these beta males, for lack of a better word, who end up being drawn to this institution, and they're not strong enough to keep women out of positions of authority because they're, number one, they don't want the authority, they don't want the responsibility. That's what attracted them to this institution. They want like a careerism thing where they want to just punch the clock for a couple hours a day and never be able to be held accountable or be fired. And if you want that, then go to an institution where females run it, because they hate holding people accountable, just like they hate being accountable. So you get this like spiraling behavior where the same thing that happens to an alcoholic when they drink to cure a hangover is happening to these institutions, where because it's so female dominated, it makes it so that all the men who go in there are complete and total pussies, because that's the only type of man who would go into these institutions. And since that's the only type of dude who's going into these institutions, that means only women run it, which makes it so that even more bitches end up going into there, and you just get it going out of control until you get it like being like a bonobo type society where everybody is responsible for everything, which means no one is responsible for anything.
Well, I also want to address the chat real quick, right? All right, so like my man right here, right? This idea, okay, and I spoke about this before, like the idea, like the great replacement theory thing. This is actually a right wing idea, right? Enclave Harden, what up? I'm gonna explain why. So I was I was watching some videos at one point, and there was a clip of Bill Crystal talking, right? And Bill Crystal sat here and said, he's like, it is good that, they stand here and that we have immigrants come in every so many generations, or every generation, and kind of clean out like the original generation, right? The original people who were here. With the Irish, the Italians, and the Mexicans, and whatever the case is. And the reason is, and by the way, what up, Enclave? What up, Jacob? Nice to see you out here, right? And the reason is because of the fact that what he said was, he said, listen, because they become lazy and spoiled and, like fucking, self-aggrandizing and shit. They just end up being like self-centered, and you end up having like your fucking workforce become stagnant. And so like when you have these new people come in, they're willing to work, they're willing to grind, they're willing to like drive things forward and like keep shit productive. And I'll be honest with you, that is a shitty way to run a fucking society as a whole. Right. So, they're like this mentality of the great replacement theory, right? This whole ideology of it isn't just for like the votes. It isn't just for like, the idea of like creating a docile people, because they're going to replace them too eventually, right? it's like the Mexicans are going to replace the Mexicans with Guatemalans. The Guatemalans are going to replace the Guatemalans with the Hondurans. And it keeps going down and down and down spiral, right? And that's just how the fuck it works. Yo, Shrapnel, what up, man? Nice to see you out here. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, like, that is, the Pope. Oh, fucking the Pope. Man, listen, bro. Like, the Pope, all right, let me break this down, bro. Like, because I'll be honest with you, okay? The Pope's in a bad position right now. Like, like real shit. Like, the Pope is in the worst position you could be in as a leader of anything, right? Because he is completely beholden upon a world that has been like fully Protestantized, and he cannot like stand here and hold the line on shit, right? Like he doesn't have the power. And all right, man, listen. So we talk about this a lot, yo, TK, motherfucking, TK's in here, bro. TK's chilling at the moment, right? Fucking TK, you, motherfucking, we've talked about the total state before, right?
Yeah, where basically what happened in what do you want to call this, like 1600s UK, what happened with the establishment of the Anglican Church and the British Bank made it so that all the poles of power are concentrated in maybe not just one institution, but one.
Call it the government, bro. Say the government.
The government. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the word I was going to say was cabal, but yeah, that also works. So once you have everything grouped in one central location like that, you don't have any method for like balancing powers. Like the whole, like Montesquieu's whole theory on, separation of government and this type of thing, it's reliant on the having different poles and powers, because with different interests made up different people, right? You have the merchants checking the nobles on their spending because there's only a certain amount of money that the nobles can raise from the merchants, right? You have the military checking the merchants because the military will not protect your supply lines if you do not get straight with the military. And the nobles check the military because the nobles are the head of the military. And although they're not necessarily the rank and file, so the nobles typically make up like the elite guard, and they handle the training and this type of thing. So they have a check.
And they provided the conscripts back then too as well.
Yeah, all this type of thing. Basically, like the nobles were the tip of the spear of the military. So the military would end up like backing them up as a in general move, as long as they weren't doing something completely retarded.
All right. So hold up. So here's the reason why like we bring up the total state, right? Because we got to remotely like stay on point as to why we're bringing this up as far as the Pope's concerned, right? So the Pope used to represent the family, right, universally across Europe, right? And so basically the deal is that where the king had like remote control over the military and the army and taxation, right? Well, like the military, economy, and taxation, the Pope would have control over the fucking family and would maintain the power of the family through going like, hey, look, if you have a king move against the family and the people and try to overstate his place, what ends up happening is like he'll fucking like basically stand here and speak out against it until the fucking neighbors of that state, you know what I mean, like the other neighboring states around there would go like, yeah, listen, you can't fucking stand here and like try to take away these people's, you know what I mean, rights to be like family or whatever it is, or to step on a father or whatever the case is. Because at the same point, the king was still head of his family, right? And so the Pope maintained that as well. And so like these are the separate poles of power. Like, yeah, like the king has power in the country, but like the church would have power like in the family, right? Where it's like, listen, you're going to be a family. Like, you are the king of your castle because God granted you your fucking children, your wife, and your fucking home, right? And these type of mentalities, right, as a whole, are like where the total state fucking completely destroyed that, where you no longer have somebody saying like, listen, we're going to maintain your rights as a family member, maintain your rights as a man, as a father, right? Maintain your fucking like the order and the structure of your fucking family and your community. Nah, that's all up to the state now. And the state, like little by little, has gotten to the like the idea that like a king in the Middle Ages would have this amount of fucking power over your fucking family, or even this amount of reach into your family and your community, completely the fuck unheard of. Like
it wasn't
100%.
possible.
Yeah.
It wasn't possible because like the deal is that when you centralize power, you change the nature of it. But if you decentralize power, you also change the nature of it. Right? So what ends up happening is that if you have like one singular king, he can command, however, like let's say he has control over 1/5 of your life. Just using numbers here to demonstrate a
Yeah,
point.
and by the way, for everybody who thinks that this is a religious conversation, it's not. Like, this is a like a societal anthropological fucking conversation to understand how civilizations work, right? Just as an in general thing. So like, this is actually like not. This isn't pro or anti like fucking God or religion or even breaking down these type of things. It's getting a better understanding of like how like the mechanisms of society moves. Just so like everybody fucking stays on the same page of why we're getting into this type of shit. But I apologize, CK. Go ahead.
You're good. Just on that point, the idea that religion, governance, and economics are separated is actually a relatively modern idea, and it's something that modern society has invented basically so that the state can divvy up these powers within itself and make it seem like it's not just one pole of power, right? So the thing is that there's not really a difference between any of the things. It's like it's all the same animal. It's just whether you're looking at the trunk, the tail, or the tusks or whatever. The with the analogy of a blind man, three blind men looking at an elephant, right? So, but you're not wrong in that we're not talking about like theology, right? Because it doesn't necessarily matter about the nature or the manner in which you worship God in this particular sense. It matters how we relate to each other. And that's informed by religion because religion tells you basically what to value in a lot of ways, which is kind of why Protestantism just enabled all this stuff to be absolute trash. Because if you go like I forget the name of the exact theology here, but it says that you just need the Bible in order to be religious and be a Christian, and that's an issue because
That's Unitarianism.
uh, Unitarians
Unitarianism.
are a sect that believe it, but most Protestants believe this to some degree or another, that you just need the Bible to tell you how to worship God. And that's just not true. Like you can make all sorts of arguments as to what tradition is right, what tradition is wrong, how much you need to adapt it, but like you need some ability to distinguish an actual Christian from some dude who's taking mushrooms in the woods, right? And just calling himself a Christian. Like you need some
Yeah,
way
I'll
to
feel you.
do it. And
But yeah,
tradition.
well, like, here's how I've been putting it recently. Religion organizes your culture.
Yeah. Religion is like
I think that's about where it is. You know what I'm saying? It takes all
religion.
your cultural practices and organizes it into like something coherent.
Yeah. Religion is like the sports stadium, and the government is like the coaches and the teams.
Okay. How about this? Right.
Not a perfect
Um.
analogy.
Yeah, nah, like I'm trying to think about it that way. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. You know what I mean? In my fucking head. Like I'm trying to put it there. Like I think what it is that like no, here's what it is. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. It's okay. So the government is the fucking stadium, right? You know what I mean? Like the government is the stadium, and like um yeah, the government's a stadium, which like stands here and puts the boundaries around like what you can and can't do, right? And like the fucking people are like the players are the culture, right? And what game you're playing is the religion.
Okay, yeah, I can fuck with that.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I think that makes more sense. So, like that way, like, all right, listen. So the religion's like, like, listen, we all came here to play a game, right? But the religion goes, all right, well, what game are we playing? We're gonna play this game. But like, the players are gonna play the way they're gonna play because like that's how the fuck they were built.
right, because like if you got somebody who's short and really fast, they're gonna be a wide running back or a wide receiver or something like that. If somebody's real big and they're stocky, they're gonna be a lineman.
Yes, right. And there goes your cultures. You know what I'm saying as a whole, right? And then like each of them are going to do what they're going to do on their own, like their own accord. I mean, based on like what they are, where they come from, that type of shit. And then like, the fucking religion's going to be like, well, we're all just going to play this game. You know what I mean? And then we're just going to organize everything and have it, what I mean? Like have some basic like rules and structures that are wrote down. Right. And this is where like I was getting into like laws last night because like laws are nothing more than like the writing down of your cultural norms. Right. It's the enforcement of your cultural norms. That's what laws really are in the end of the day. Because like in religion, like you can have God's laws and you can break God's laws and you can either have consequences or not have consequences, right? Like the consequences are kind of the same for almost like everything when it comes to like the church. It's fucking excommunication, right? Which is basically a death sentence at certain points, but on the same level it might not be, right? So this is like, so with the government though, on the other hand, when you write down the fucking laws, you have strict actual real punishments and like guidelines for like things that aren't God's laws. And some of them might be, but like a lot of them aren't. And so that's where like, that's what laws actually are. They're just like fucking, they're an enforcement of your cultural norms. That's it. Right. Which I find kind of strange as a whole.
I mean, yeah, and that's also one of the main issues that you end up with if you have a multicultural government, because you get people enforcing cultural norms from one culture onto another, which is why every successful empire in human history, from the Romans, the Carthaginians, uh, the British to some
Persians,
extent, yeah,
the
Persians, all these
Persians,
people, yeah, all these people, what they did instead of doing like we do, what we do is we go in, we take over an area, and we go, you're following our laws. You have to give your women rights. You have to uh, pay out welfare to people. You have to do all these types of things. What they did was they took like a small cadre of their co-ethnics. Like if we're talking the British, they had a small number of British people who went into India, for example, and they trained a bunch of Indians to enforce law and order to like the barest minimum, but they made sure that aside from like wife burnings and this type of thing, they more or less respected the culture that they grew up in and were a part of. So you have ultimately like an empire controlling the entire like subject population and this type of thing. But it's not like they're governed by British people. They're governed by people who are led by British people, which is a major distinction. Because it'd be like
well, I mean,
if
all right. So let me wait. No, like I want to disagree with you on that point, right? With the British, right? Because like the British
the
would end
British
up
didn't do it
standing
as well as
here.
anybody, as a lot of other people, but that's just the example I
I
had
like.
on
I
hand.
think the Persians. I think the Persians and the Romans were better, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because all the Persians and
They
the
were
Romans really
smarter.
did, right, is well, yeah, of course they were fucking smarter, but that's not the goddamn point, right? Like but what the Persians and the fucking British, or what the Persians and the fucking Romans is, what they did is they go in, right? They'll siege a fucking city, whatever the case is, right? And they'll go, listen, this is our city now, right? But then what they'll do is they'll just stand here and go, okay, we're gonna put like a couple of guys here just to make sure you're paying taxes to us, and that's it. And then they fucking leave. And that was the entirety of their fucking shit. That was it. And with the Romans, you would have Roman magistrates would go in and they'd set up like courts, but it wasn't courts to enforce law. It was courts to like enforce trade, right? Where like you could have Roman traders come in there with wine or whatever it is, and even the local population, right? If they had a dispute with a Roman trader, right? He would come in and the Roman he'd be like, hey, listen, there's a Roman guy. He fucking, he ripped me the fuck off. And they'd be like, oh, well, you have proof? And they go, yeah, here. And you go, oh, he did. You need to pay this fucking local, right? And that's it. That's all the fuck they ever had. Like that was the entirety of the Roman fucking like conquering of a fucking people. Nothing more. And that's it's so much better of a situation.
You're missing the part where the Roman magistrate would build himself a harem of the local women. But other than that, yes.
I mean, listen, bro. Like, it's good to be the king. And by the way, Vi Victus. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm not condemning it. I'm just saying you left that out.
Vi Victus, motherfucker. Like, again, like this was not like enforced by Romans, right? This wasn't like a Roman like written thing. Like it wasn't like, hey, look, you're gonna go in here and you're gonna set up a harem. That's not how that worked, right? It's I mean, he just set up a harem because like all the people would end up fucking going which is fucking weird to me as an in general thing, right? Where TK, can you explain this to me because you're part of these fucking people? Why do people try to end up like emulating successful motherfuckers?
Monkey see, monkey do most of the time. Like the thing is that a lot of them don't think about it, and a lot of it's just like peer pressure, right? So just as an example, the British English is actually an import, believe it or not. What happened was
yeah, they're Germans. They're Germans. Yeah.
I was actually going to say, yeah, that's definitely part of it. But American English is actually much more, and specifically Southern English, is much more close to like the English of the common people that existed when the colonists left England, right? And this tends to happen with all sorts of things when you have a colony where it just ends up being like a cultural time capsule. And what ended up happening was that different aristocrats and the queen and her court specifically picked up these like the posh English accent from basically the magistrates that they had sent out and come back, because these accents were basically a sign of class. And class distinctions in Great Britain are significantly different and more important than they are in the US. Not saying that there's no class distinctions in the US, it's just different. But so what ends up happening is that if you have, in this particular case, like a particular accent, if you talk to someone and you look up to them, you're going to subconsciously start talking like them to some amount. And even if you don't necessarily look up to them, if you associate with them enough, you're going to pick up that accent. And then there's people who are tryhards, who are trying to associate themselves with successful people who intentionally try to pick up that accent. And so what you end up getting is you get a lot of you get like radiating out from the center of political power this weird posh British accent, which ends up going down like through the middle class to some extent, just not to the same heavy amount. This happens all the time in society, and there are a bunch of different reasons. Like I was saying, monkey see, monkey do. People just emulate each other without really knowing about it. Like when I lived in Texas for a hot minute, and I just picked up a slight amount of Southern accent while I was there, because if you talk differently, people are going to look at you differently, and you're just trying to fit in, even if you're not thinking about it.
All
Another
right, hang
thing
on, man.
too.
I gotta address a killing joke in the motherfucking chat. Hey, listen, man. There's Streamlabs in the description, right? First off. Secondly, or I can read his $1 donation from last time we streamed a week ago. Pinoid's unused washcloth donated $1. He never uses me. His ass is just crusted with doo doo. Do you feel better, buddy? Do you feel better, joke? Do you feel better, buddy? No, because you didn't do anything and donate anything to me today. I'm looking at my motherfucking shit. So quit your goddamn whining, you big baby. All right. I'm not. Go ahead, please. I apologize.
Yeah, you're good. Another thing is that, like, on certain things, and this is more of me speaking like as an aspiring Orthodox Christian in some sense. Um, there's a lot of shit that people do that they don't know they do that you want to pick up. Like, I want you to use that massive monkey brain of yours to try to delete all of the cooking experience out of your brain, and then read a cookbook and try to figure out all of the stuff that you know you should do that it gives you no indication that you should do. That type of thing. Where there's a
Okay.
bunch of stuff that you need to do. It's
I mean,
important
here's
stuff
here's my
that
here's
you
my
pick
question.
up.
Here's my question, though, right? Like my question is this, right? So I'll give you a for instance, right? And it's something that's kind of always bugged me, right? Is that there's a uniform that we have as a people, and I spoke about this in my last video a little bit. There's this idea of wearing like a suit and tie, you know what I mean, to stand here and go and conduct business or to go to court or whatever the case is, right? And the ultimate like aspiration for being successful as a person in this society, and then in Asian society now, and in like Eastern society, is to sit here and be a person who wears a suit and tie every day, right? And the Asians aspire to it way more than I see a lot of Western people at this point, especially like Americans. We're like, listen, I'd much rather wear a pair of sweats and, I mean, a pair of jeans and some boots or whatever it is. Like, I don't really understand why you would sit here and emulate, like when you're trying to like raise your kids. You know what I mean? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Or did my shit freeze up?
You
Mike
were
check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were roboting there for a little bit for a second, but I heard most of that.
Yeah, we're good. All right, I'm froze up. Right. So why like why would a whole society of people emulate like a foreign people? That's really weird to me as a thing.
Mm. A lot of it's because once you're a subjugating population, right? And one thing you got to understand is that most of the time in most societies, you don't have like a ruling class that's the same people as the subject people, right? It is very rare that you actually have like a homogenous ethnic group with that same type of people at the top as at the bottom. Um, in India, it's an extreme case because you had a lot of different people from a lot of different places because it's in the middle of the freaking continent, right? But this is the case with like a lot of different countries, and where it's not, it's a lot of the times because in the 18th and 19th centuries there were a bunch of revolutions, which we see and we say that it's like rights and all this type of nonsense, but a lot of it was ethnic conflict. Like, for example, the French Revolution was a lot of ethnic conflict because the ruling class before. Hey, Cappy, what's up? The ruling
Hanging
class
out.
before the French Revolution was actually like Indo-Aryan people, and then after the French Revolution, the peasants, which were more, native, they're more like the Germanic style and this type of thing. They overthrew and killed the upper class that were, dominating their society. And it's not really talked on a whole lot because people like as a whole, our government and our ruling structure don't want to admit that
Is he
people.
breaking out for me or y'all too?
I might be breaking up a little bit.
No,
but
I can hear him.
Okay. So like the main thing with the French Revolution is that our
Let me say this real
institutions.
quick. The Killing Joke donated 10. Wait. The Killing Joke donated $10. Right. I'm sorry, my hill. I didn't mean to question your big, huge brain. Please buy yourself some breath mints with this tenor. People have been talking. Just looking out for you, buddy. Bye. I love you. Man, listen, I love you too, Killing Joke Brown. Listen, I'm not trying to stream over top you. I thought you were doing your fucking stream. And I mean, I was over here doing my own thing. I'm not even playing music and shit. And you stopped the stream to come talk to me. It's appreciated you being out in the chat. And by the way, the machine lies, right? This is a stream that I was on last night. Y'all go check him out, man. Listen, he's cool as shit. Muslim guy fucking does a lot of really good work. You guys go check his shit out. You know what I mean? It's appreciated. And Underdog, man, by the way, what up, my brother? How the fuck you doing? Nice to see you out here. And Cappy has joined the motherfucking street. Cappy, what up, man?
Oh, nothing much. I just got done moving a gas generator because it was fucking broke, and then we went and traded it at Harbor Freight for one that actually works now. Because I don't think they actually test them before they ship them out.
Oh, cool.
No, why would they? That shit's expensive.
Yeah, no, it's shipped without oil, so you have to like add the oil and then like break it in and buy like a magnetic plug, so that way you can actually like suck the metal shavings out of the oil.
Yeah. I mean, why would you ever do quality assurance?
I don't know, man. And then we went over.
Yo, they
we
have
had
to be
we didn't
shipped
want to
without
test
oil.
it. What?
Yeah,
They
because
have
if
to be shipped without oil.
If
Okay.
because if it spills, then that's a kind of a fucking problem.
Well, that's why
and
you
that
make your
it
product
becomes
so
like
it
a
doesn't
hazmat.
spill.
You know what I mean? Like fire or whatnot. Like it becomes like a hazmat problem. And like no, it's like so technically, if you're shipping petroleum products right inside of like a motor, right, it's an issue. You know what I mean? Then like you have to register it a different way, and it costs a different amount for shipping, and it can only move on certain stuff. It's a pain in the ass, right? So they just want you to add the oil when it gets there.
Yeah.
Well, either way, you have to buy a magnetic plug to suck the metal shavings out from having to dry run it until the oil coats everything.
I mean, I think you have to break in most motors on some.
Yeah.
But I might be wrong there.
Was it a Predator?
Yes, actually, it's the fucking like $2,500 one from like Harbor Freight.
Call Chris Hansen.
And
not those Predator ones, man. Listen, they're some of the best stupid cheap like fucking little garbage like gas motors you can buy for like all types of projects. I'm probably gonna be buying one this year with a bottom shaft so I can build a boat motor out of it. And I mean, like, listen, you can't beat the prices on them. You know, I mean, they're fucking great.
That is fair, but if you get one, always recognize that you might have to get two and return one because you're going to have to do trial and error until you get one that works. Because the issue with this one was it wouldn't suck fuel in. So we literally drove from the Harbor Freight to his closest friend's house to run it to see if we would have to return this one too. And like his friend's house, it's like an older like Puerto Rican gentleman with about like, he has all the old like beater like Dodge Chargers and shit like that in a garage. Unrelated, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean it wouldn't suck fuel in? Wait a minute. What do you mean it wouldn't suck fuel in? They don't
like we put gas in it and it would only run on starter fluid. So
did you turn the gas on? It usually has a little cutoff switch.
Well, it didn't. I don't know, man. I'm retarded with engines, but my older brother isn't. So I assume that he did the things.
I mean, like I'm a genius when it comes to small engines, bro. When it comes to like small motors, bro, that's my wheel. That is like I'm expert level on that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to call me on them, dude. Like real shit. I walked my little brother through fixing a small motor in Africa, right? Like when he was over doing a mission trip and shit, so he could like build wells for, fucking people from Burkina Faso. I don't know what you would
That's
call
right.
those
You
people.
do have brothers, don't you?
Burkinians. I do. I got 2 little brothers and a little sister.
Fucking old
Yeah.
man Tom.
Man, listen. What do you mean, old man Tom? I got siblings. You have siblings as well. You're just the youngest of all the siblings. Big
No,
difference.
I'm not. I am the middle.
You got younger
my older
siblings?
brother's 10 years older than me, and my younger's 2 years younger.
Jesus, I didn't even know you had younger
Yeah,
brothers.
my dad, he had a first wife, and then it didn't work out, so he went to the second.
Well, that's not. I mean, I just in general didn't know any of your siblings were. I thought you were the youngest. I was like the way you act. I figured you were the baby of the family.
Nope. I mean, I don't know how to take that, but like, it be what it is.
Nah, I'm like, yo, because you're talking about like your older brothers and like heavy metal guys and all that type of shit. You know what I mean? And you're like, well, I also listen to heavy metal. Like you're kind of like you follow them, and that tends to be what like the baby does. You know what I mean? Like the youngest of the fucking family. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it's
like I just
this
assumed
man
it's like
has
you
a
were
10-year head
youngest.
start on me.
Yeah. I know. Right. And I'm not knocking you. I'm saying like you just in that dynamic. Like I would have assumed you were the youngest. And you live at home, you know what I mean? Like you live with your mom and like all that type of stuff. Like I would have figured you was the youngest of your sibling. That's fucking crazy that you're not. And I mean, just I don't know, like I thought you were. Like I just assumed. I apologize for assuming. Makes an ass out of me and makes an ass out of you. See that shit happens.
I was trying to like listen, what? But like my younger brother, he's like the college going type. He's going for like some form of engineering. I don't know what it means.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Rip, baby, rip. Yeah. So anyway, back to the conversation at hand.
The French peasant.
all right. So okay. How do I put this, man? As I got older, my wants for like what I wanted my kids to become changed, right? Like when I was young, I like hoped my kid would become like a doctor or a lawyer or something. And as I aged and like I had more kids, I kind of just got to the point where I said, I want them to be good people. And that's it. Like I want them to be happy in life and to be okay and be good humans. And that's all I really like cared about. I was like, I don't care if my kids like grow up and become something spectacular, right? Like I don't need that for my legacy. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
TK, make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, I was talking to my brother the other day, or it might have been this morning, I forget which, and he was telling me that, like, our parents are boomers, and he felt some kind of way about the fact that our dad grew up on a farm, and so he knew how to do all sorts of farm shit. We kind of grew up near a farm, and so on occasion we would go help out with some farm shit, but we never really learned a whole lot. We were just basically like mobile forklifts that didn't have a very high capacity, right? Like I didn't do much besides baling hay and feeding hogs. So my brother had to learn how to slaughter chickens and do like the whole bit, and then is teaching his kids. And it's definitely not an easy task, and you have to keep doing this type of thing because you can't just do it once and be done. But I don't know how to say this properly, but we are where we are in the United States right now because we've had 2 or 3 generations of people who either didn't feel like they needed to pass on whatever they had or they weren't able to. And
No,
that
no, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it at all. That's not it. What it
go
is
for it.
they said we want our kids to be successful, right? And we don't, how do I put this? These people, the boomers, okay, as a whole, hated their lives so much that if they knew anything, and like they hated like their parents too as well, so they never fucking wanted to do any of that shit ever again. Make sense?
I mean,
And they didn't want their kids to do it. So, like, for instance, all these construction workers are like, I don't want my kid to be a construction worker. You know what I mean? Like, all these farmers, like, I don't want my kid to be a farmer. I want him to go to college and make something of himself. Like, they see what they're doing right now as a negative, or what they did to earn a
that
living to feed their family as a negative thing.
I mean, that just seems like they fucking hate themselves more than anything.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. So
I mean, I don't know what to like. This is where we're at. Like, where they felt like they didn't need to pass. They didn't want to pass it down because they didn't want their kids to do that shit. They wanted their kids to go to college and, you know, I mean, be an office worker, because they're like, listen, this is so much easier. You won't destroy your body, but they miss, right, all that shit that comes with that: the discipline, the fucking character, the heart. You know, what I mean, the respectability, all these things that come from, you know what I mean, like working with your hands and toiling, like earning your living with the toil of your back and the sweat of your brow. They miss all that shit.
yeah, and well, like it's gotten to the point where I don't know if you've really talked to like some of the younger people, like a lot of people Cappy's age, at least like the suburbanites, the way they talk, you know, you have an issue on the internet where people talk in a manner that is not. They talk in a manner that it's obvious that they know that there's no physical danger in the interaction. A lot of people today, especially the younger ones, talk in a manner that it's obvious that they've never had a physical danger with a social interaction. And that's an entirely different animal. And the other ones, you know, if you grow up in a fucking city, then you're probably in a gang, which means that, or at least you know about them, which is an entirely different issue where there's nothing that is not like deadly. So I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but
No. I'm understanding where your mental is, right? It's you. On one hand, you have people who, and this is, I was actually watching a video about like a black guy who was from like inner city Chicago, right? And he was kind of like a nerd, but like on the same point, like he still grew up inner city Chicago, and he moved to like Sweden, right? Or like Amsterdam or some shit. One of them fucking, you know what I mean, like communist fucking shitholes in Northern Europe, right? And he moved over there, and he noticed immediately that like the people around him, they weren't always looking over their shoulder. They weren't watching out for like what would happen to them. They didn't act like they were always in danger, right? And he had people like come up to him who had ended up becoming friends with him, like, you know, over a period of time, and they tell him and ask him like why he is the way he is, and he explains like, I mean, listen, you know, like where I grew up and how I lived is, you know, I mean, like every day, like could be the day you were going to die, or you would get robbed, or you would, you know, I mean, have somebody just like roll you and take your shit, whatever the case is. And this was very strange for people there, right? And we have like 3 different classes of people. We have like the redneck, hillbilly, fucking country people who, they got a mix of both. You have the city folks, who are kind of more like me, who like are like constantly over their shoulder, and then you have these like transgender weirdos who are walking around the streets and going to stores where, they honestly don't belong, but they're still there, right? And they're just oblivious to the fact that they don't fucking belong there. And I don't know how to square. I don't know how to square that circle. I have no idea.
Well, I mean, there's no feedback mechanism for them to figure out that, like, you shouldn't be there. Like, I grew up in kind of
violence from the system.
Well, we've removed violence from certain parts of the system, which is kind of a problem. Like there are certain areas that are effectively unpoliced, and then there are areas that are hyper policed. And then you have the internet, which is kind of a mix of both. So you do have these people who are like living in glass houses and don't really realize it. And then you got like the hood rats, and then like you were saying, the hillbillies, where it's not like they're used to. The reason the hillbillies are a mix of both is because they're exposed to the fact that, like, the world can hurt them, not necessarily a person, and which is why, even though
no. As a hillbilly, you grew up with people being violent. Like, people will be violent around you because you're poor.
Also, yes. I mean, I was more meaning that, like, you have to deal with wildlife, but I suppose hillbillies are also wildlife, so that kind of makes sense.
Well, I mean, like, if you grew up in a trailer park, you're gonna fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Poor people kill poor people. It's how it works. I mean, like, you're gonna end up having fights. You're gonna end up having squabbles. You're gonna end up having people like steal from you and rob from you. If you're poor, that's just how being poor works. As in, no matter where the fuck you are, if it's Africa or Asia or fucking Europe or America, South America, it doesn't matter. It fucking literally doesn't matter. Like, poor people rob from other poor people. Just when you're hungry, everything is food. That's just part of life, and you're gonna go get food when you need to. So, like, when you see somebody walking around with food, and you don't have any food, that food's going to go missing, and you're going to end up having people get caught, and then you're going to have altercations, and then you're going to have fucking violence. So, as I said, you have a mix, right? So in rural America, like, you will have people who are accustomed to like normal ass violence, right? And usually in the rural areas will mix more often than not with city folks from time to time, it's a strange way it mix. Like, you'll mix, like, as a rural person, you'll mix more with city people than you will with like suburbanites and those like trannies who just walk around and think everything's okay.
Yeah. There's a reason why when I was going to college, the two groups of people that I fucked around with were, farmers and the football team, meaning the black people. And
like, I'm telling you, like, it's weird, Marx was not wrong. It's a class thing.
Yeah, it's just that class in America is fucking weird.
It is, but like, I'll be honest with you, like, a poor black dude and a poor white dude have more in common than, like a middle class white dude and a poor white dude does.
Depends on the area you're talking about, because, well, like, number one, middle class doesn't exist in America anymore. Like, there's it doesn't exist. It's gone. It's gone, Tom. Like, it does not exist anymore.
Tom, give it up, buddy. It's over. You just gotta let it go.
1 in 3 people making 150 grand a year is living paycheck to paycheck, dude. Middle class is gone, and that's even if you're talking about just like people who are making like a middling income being middle class. The old definition of middle class was like private business owners. Like you're talking about like your mom and pop shop owner. That used to be the definition of middle class. And let's be real here. All of those businesses, if they're not completely put the fuck under, they're owned by the banks. And the quote unquote owner is just a manager.
Okay, all right, now listen. So when you talk about middle class in America, right? You're talking about like the suburbanites, right? The people who live in houses that cost anywhere from like 250 to 800K, right? That's the middle class in America. Now they may be living paycheck to paycheck, and that's because like their fucking house is too expensive and they're overextended. But on the same level, they have a lot in common as a group where like they all shop at the same place, they all like eat at the same restaurants, they they wear the same type of shit, they drive the same type of cars and the same model years of type of cars. Like you're not going to catch like a person who's making $150,000 a year driving, a 2003 fucking Corolla, right? That person will be driving, like a Ford Bronco or a fucking 2019, 2020 fucking F-150, right?
Aaron Bates
And
does.
So then I have a question.
I don't know who Aaron Bates is, buddy. I have no idea who the fuck that is.
He's the actor who plays like I forget the name, but like the Sigma meme.
Okay.
Christian Bale.
And artist,
yeah,
man, I miss you, artist. Man, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. Right. But yeah, like fucking, I just, as a whole, like I'm saying, like that is a class of people. You know what I mean? Get nothing misunderstood. And these are the people who are where like all the fucking the gender fluidity people, the single moms who or the moms who are like passing the zero tolerance like laws in school. They're the fucking let me see your manager people. That is these fucking people.
I'm not disagreeing that they exist as like a social block, but I don't feel like middle class is the correct term for them. I feel like I don't know. They seem more like they're like.
I mean, if you want to go management class, we can say management class.
I like house niggers.
Okay, I mean, like you're not wrong. You're not wrong, right? They're middle management. They're bureaucrats at the state. They're not like Fauci, but like they'll be like fucking I don't know, like the mid-level people making like fucking 90 to fucking 130 140K a fucking year. They'll have like fucking 22 months of goddamn vacation every year and shit, right?
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you said months.
I mean, it is the fuck I'm talking about. Like when we, like if you see, like you can identify them by their fucking cars
and their jawlines.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
not wrong. I mean, like, yo, you know who I'm like. You see a guy pull up in a 2022 fucking like GMC Sierra, right? With the fucking custom deluxe package on it, or you see somebody pull up in a 2023 fucking Ford Bronco, or you see a guy pull up, or you see a woman pull up in a fucking Mercedes SUV, or a fucking an Infinity
Tesla?
Q45, right? Fucking really nice Infinity fucking SUVs.
I would like to bring
Tesla's
up
another one, right? But then again, there's a lot of posers in Teslas.
I would like to bring up a question. So, I would personally consider myself middle class.
What up?
You ain't.
But like, I drive an 03 Toyota Tacoma with like close to 200,000 miles on it, and I make about 30K a year, 32-ish.
Yeah, you ain't middle class, bro.
Yeah, you are poor.
Yeah, you gotta understand.
You are poor.
That, like the thing with America is that when I say there's no
I don't know.
middle
I feel
class,
rich.
yeah. Well, it's because you're one of the few people who has not been dumb enough to just like saddle yourself with debt, and so you're playing life on easy mode, especially if you've already got a house. Like, which, by the way, that's how everybody should be. It's not your fault. Just fucking make sure that you keep a death grip on that status. Um, like, it is historically normal for your parents to give you a house and a profession. That is what it meant to raise a kid. For all of history up until what, fucking 1850, something like that. Like that is what you meant when you said I raised my kids right. It meant I made sure that they had some means to support themselves and some place to live. Now it means I put them through high school. Like the
I mean,
entirely
now it means like I don't even know like how to fuck like now it means
I don't
like
know
you
what it
didn't
means
do
anymore.
crack in front of them and get them like addicted to something. I don't even know what it means to raise your kids right anymore. Just like I don't know. I have no idea.
I guess the best way that you could look at it is you raise your kids right if they don't fit in with anyone else.
100%.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, today, but like fucking
Well,
the
yeah, we're
typical
talking
idea
about
is like I
today.
raise my kid right and they're going to college. You know what I mean? Right. So like today, the overwhelming prevailing opinion would be you raise your kid right if they went to college.
The best litmus test for this
Graduated
would be to
college,
see
but
if your
yes.
kid would have fun at a college party if there weren't women there.
Nah. Like as bad as the boomers and Gen Xers are, they still kind of expect grandkids on some level. They just have put in no effort to actually making sure that that's possible.
Yeah, they've never like the boomers are fucking trash, right? And like they really don't care about their fucking grandkids, by the way, which is that's the horrible part, right? It's like all right, so I remember coming up and my mom used to just drop me off with like random fucking people on a regular basis who she knew would be like a friend or my fucking grandmother or an aunt or some shit. Right. And like now as like as a parent, you know what I mean? And like I'm like, listen, hey mom, I need somebody to watch my kids for me. And she's like, I ain't got time for that. I'm fucking busy. I don't want to I don't want your fucking kids around here, fucking don't break shit or whatever. Like literally it's fucking they're terrible. Like our fucking parents are fucking trash. Like they're fucking bad. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it. And they don't even like the real bitch is that like the parents will only show up. Like your parents can live 20 minutes from you and they won't show up at your fucking house for like birthdays. They'll just show up for like Christmas. And that's a maybe. A lot of times you got to go to them. You got to pack your children up and fucking travel to your fucking parents' house. It's like, yo, what? Are you fucking high? Like, yo, bring your ass here. Like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, your grandkids are here. Why am I packing my kids up on a cold ass day to go see you? Why aren't you coming to them? Like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, and this is the boomers though, bro. This is what the fucking boomers do. They're fucking trash. By the way, Willie Cogley, what up, man?
Hey, Willie. And also, like we
It
do
might
give the boomers shit, but their parents weren't honestly much
I'm not
better.
even looking at it from that angle. Cuz like the boomers are shit, but like I think it also comes down to classes of boomers. Cuz I've met in my area personally, I've met a lot of like decent boomers that actually like gave a fuck about their kids.
Well,
Like maybe I just
if
found some unicorns, but I don't know. Like I haven't seen it personally.
well, like you're talking about the difference between signaling that you care about your kids and actually caring about your
No,
kids.
like they gave a fuck, like they did stuff. They would like help their kids out.
Like, did they give their kids a house?
Like if their kids no, because houses are fucking expensive here. We're all poor here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but like they
like
had a chance
TK
to buy a house
TK for
before it got
modern
expensive.
standards, like if their kid's car would break down, they'd lend their kids a car. like,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like if they needed help with a loan or that kind of thing. That's what we're dealing with.
yeah. I definitely feel you, and
Look
and
after their kids. Like they do the shit that sounds like what Tom would appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, there are like good boomers out here who help their fucking kids. There are those people, right? But the vast majority of them, and it's not just like, when the chips are down and like, oh, I got a car, can I get a ride, right? I mean, it's not just that, right? It's the day to day, I mean, like, hey, look, like, can I have my grandkids for a little bit? And like, so you and your, I mean, husband can go out. Hey, listen, how's, I mean, how's things going? Like, man, listen, and like a female will come and bitch. I'm like, you're supposed to respect your husband and do what you're supposed to do, and be a proper wife. Like, maybe you're fucking up. Like, it's the supporting the family type of thing, right? Where it's like, listen, you need to like fucking stand here and understand it. It's not about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where like the mental comes down to. That's where like shit really is in the end of the day, right? It's the everyday thing of like really being like a proper fucking person. And that's just not how that works. You know what I mean? They don't have that in them to be able to do that type of shit where they're able to, I mean, like, be a proper human being and support like their family structure and the continuance of their fucking people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
part of this problem is also that, like, because of the retarded amount of immigration, most of the time, if you want some sort of, like, if you want a halfway decent job, probably at least half the time you gotta move out from like your hometown, which means you gotta move out from anybody you might be related to. This happens, this happens 2, 3 generations in a row, and then you've got like a completely deracinated people. Like, you need to have multiple generations of the people in one area. Now, they don't have to stay on the exact same fucking piece of land, but they need to stay in like the same, like, 3 or 4 county area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Melvin Molly's in the chat complaining that what the hell are so-called boomers supposed to do? From what I've seen, boomers have been better parents and Xers and entitled millennial. Yeah, but
Who's
they're not,
bitching?
right? And that's the problem. Is that like the Melvin Molly? I don't know who the fuck that is, but like the problem
Probably a
is like
boomer.
literally like the boomers. Yeah, probably a boomer, right? Yeah, the boomers aren't really interested. You know what I'm saying? Like, in standing here promoting their family and promoting their community and promoting their culture and like
I
passing
feel like
anything
we
the
should
fuck
have
down
Willie
from
on for
like,
this.
no, we should not have Willie on for this. No, because Willie would literally just like start talking about how, like, he fucking got into an accident and then somebody kickboxed him in the head.
Well, no,
Then he
with the
stabbed
with the
himself,
boomers
and
part.
then yeah, listen, like, he has his own boomer stories, right? And we all do. Like, every one of us have our boomer stories where it's just like, are you fucking serious right now? Right? Like, the boomers literally, their entire culture was like Star Trek, Star Wars, and fucking the Beatles. That's what the
Gen X.
boomers passed down to us.
Beatles is the boomers.
No, that's the boomers. That's the boomers, right? Like, that's literally like what the boomers gave us. And by the way, fucking the original Star Trek series came out in like 68, I want to say, right? With Captain
Fucking
Kirk. So that's
nerd.
fucking boomers. Listen, man, my dad's a boomer. You know what I mean? Like, yo, like, literally, like, all the boomers were nothing more than like fucking consumers. And I understand that, like, they didn't, the boomers were given a culture, right? The boomers were handed that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the boomers had, well, again, the millennials, you got to remember, like, wait. What were we calling them? The hipsters? We were calling them hipsters because, like, they'd like to go thrift shopping in their local neighborhood and support local fucking, like, shit and, like, buy, like, fucking local ingredients and all this stuff. Again, like, this is what are millennials doing? That's what we're doing. That's what we're
And
fucking doing. We're all,
and,
like,
and
learning how to hunt. We're learning how to, like, fucking, like, we're buying, like, locally. We're pushing stores to have grass-fed fucking food and, like, free-range shit, right? So it's not industrialized. That's what we're doing. Same with the
and
Xers. The boomers were perfectly fucking fine with GMO trash.
it's
So you
worth
know your
noting
place, man. Like, real shit. Go ahead, man. What up?
it's worth noting that, like, the boomers still have almost all of the positions of power and almost all of the capital in this fucking society. And so if you're asking, hey, what are all the lower classes doing to fix all the shit that we fucked up? Like, think about what the fuck you're asking.
Why is it that like we have to stand here and like learn how to do things ourselves and then teach our children shit, right? When our fathers should have been. By the way, right? This is real shit. By the way, none of us had fathers. Like, yo,
We're
maybe
a
that's the
generation
fucking
of
problem. By the way, Prime, what up, man?
we're a generation of men raised by women.
I ain't.
Right?
Like,
We literally have to pull our own culture out of the mud. Right? My mother was a fucking Guinea broad, right? Full-blooded Calabrian, right? My father was like fucking 3/4 motherfucking goddamn fucking Napolitano, right? And literally, like real shit, literally, I had to pull my own culture out of the mud. This is what the boomers did. Yo, P Fletch, what up, man? Nice to see you, right? This is where that's where the mentality is. Is literally the boomers were given shit. They gave it up so that they could go and join into the goddamn fucking consumerist fucking class and go and buy a whole bunch of cheap, high value added trash, right? And participate in this fucking society that literally don't give a shit about them, right? And hated their fucking guts. You know what I'm saying? And then what happened? They stood there and they went to their kids and they said, you know what you should do? Do what I did that ended up having me get fucking divorced, raped, like, fucked over, massive amount of fucking debt, like, and like broken completely. Hell, half of our fucking parents are goddamn drug addicts and fucking alcoholics, right? And they think it's a good way to live. Like, the fuck are you talking about, bro? Boomers are trash. The worst fucking generation that has ever existed were the fucking boomers. And the millennials, like, you're like, oh, the millennials are bad people. Like, bruh, we're raised by boomers. What did you want? And we're trying so hard. Like, look at me right now. Right, yo, Cappy, bro. Cappy.
What's up?
Yo, man, listen. So, okay. When you have a question about something, right? Like, we all go and try to find an answer for you, don't we?
Yeah, usually.
Yo, so when what up, Fletch? When I go and I meet a motherfucker who I go, oh man, listen, like, yo, Cappy's into this type of shit, bro. I should probably like fucking bring this guy over here so we can motherfucking holler at Cappy and I can bring Cappy to fuck up. Ain't that what I did? Ain't that what we do?
I don't know. Did I tell you about that one fucking dude that showed up the other day?
The engineer guy?
Yeah, he was talking about like fucking death rays and shit.
Yo, listen, man, sometimes you're gonna have that shit. It's cool. Right? But like real shit, again, like, yo, listen,
he was talking about giving
real
the
shit.
feds like stage 4 cancer and
yeah. Again, so like, but like the whole point is, right, is that like, when right, fucking and this is the whole goddamn point is that like the fucking millennials are at least trying. Right, we're all pulling some shit out the mud, and that's why it is like you're all collectivist pieces of shit. Like, yo, fuck y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. Like you were given no foundation, and you had to kind of like build it from the sand.
Yeah. That's where it is. Like all of us, they're like, oh, you're collectivist. Like, no, we're trying to have a culture, right? We're trying to like band together to fight against like the fucking corporate structure that the fucking boomers left us. And by the way, Melvin Molly, you're not wrong, right? There's a lot of us out here doing that shit. You know why? Like real shit, you know why that is? Because we're all fucking millennial women, right? Who were raised by boomers to be self-righteous, self-centered, goddamn, just nothing between the ears fucking consumers. Right. And all they give a fuck about is whether or not they can go to Starbucks and get their fucking lattes. That's it. That's as deep as their mental goes. They don't care about their kids. They don't care about themselves. They don't care about shit. And this, again, is a process of the boomers gave them no life skills. None. You know what they taught them how to do? Go to school and fucking take goddamn drugs. That's what was left to us.
Like, how many millennial women don't know how to fucking cook, and it's only gotten
Or
worse
clean.
or clean with like Gen Z or whatever. But it's because like their moms didn't teach them how to fucking cook. Like my dad didn't teach me how to fucking grill. I had to learn how to make meat from my fucking uncle. My uncle taught me how to grill. My uncle taught me how to cook
figured it
milk.
out.
Yo, my
Like-
father, right? My father, real shit. My father hunted his entire life, right? My family had fucking 60 acres on a fucking mountain and shit back in the middle of the fucking woods. I had to learn how to fire guns from my friends. I had to learn how to build fucking motors and take care of things from my friends. I had to learn how to fix cars on my own. My dad's an HVAC tech. All of these things I had to do on my own. Now I taught my kids. You know what I mean? Because like I think it's important that we pass down our wisdom and our skills to our fucking children. But like, do the boomers think that? No, they do not. Not a one of them passed down shit to fucking any of us.
Hate, hate, hate.
Hate. Like, I hate you. I hope all the bad things happen to you and only you. Like, yo. Yeah,
Classic
the
Royce
boomers were fucking
Lopez
trash.
hate,
P.
hate.
Fletch. Yo, P. Fletch, real shit, man. Who was it? Was it the fucking Spartans or the Athenians? Or yo, it was one of them,
Might have
man.
been
One of the
the,
Greek
it
city
might have been
states.
the
They created
Athenians.
one. Oh, thank you, Provo.
I know it was
Right.
through Archimedes or
Yeah,
TK,
Archimedes
you're Greek.
created that fucking the
Fuck do they-
the
who is
bronze polished shit.
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
who made Greek
That was
fire.
the
Wasn't
Athenians,
Archimedes.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was the Athenians.
Thank you, Provo. By the way, appreciate it. Right? Yeah. Like that was a solar panel death ray too. You know what I mean? Fucking pretty cool. But yeah, man, listen, like shit is like again, this is where we are, right? This is where it is. Yeah, fucking. Oh yeah, Willie's another one. Like literally, he had a fucking family homestead down in fucking PA. Nice big piece of property. Why? Why is that? Oh, you know, like yo, because because the people who it was passed down to didn't give a fuck about it. You know, what I mean, they were just worried about profiting.
Okay, so
Fuck
here's
everybody
another
else
one.
in the family.
My entire family helped my parents build a house from scratch. Like, did all the wiring, did all the brickwork, did all the fucking framing, all this type of thing. Everybody got together, made a big old house for my parents. And when I graduated from high school, they sold that bitch, kept all the money for themselves, and then rented for a while, and then bought a bigger house, and now they have a fucking mortgage on it. This is what
That's
boomers
so
do.
dumb. Yeah, my fucking all right. So my mom fucking utilized me and my sister's husband to fucking rehab a fucking house for her, right? Me and him both sat here and fucking put in like I don't know, probably 1,000 hours each into this fucking house, demoing, drywalling, electrical, plumbing, the whole nine, right? My dad helped, like everybody chipped in to fucking get this bitch flipped. We got that motherfucker flipped, right? And my mom made like fucking $165,000 off of this fucking house. I got a Jeep Cherokee with 245,000 miles on it. Was my payment.
What year? Like, what year did you get
Oh,
that Cherokee?
96.
Oh, so that was not
Oh, what year
shit.
did I get the Cherokee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like
the
04?
Yeah. And then my mom went and bought a house. You know, and then she's taking out 18 fucking mortgages on it to keep redoing the goddamn kitchen and the bathroom and the wall and the fucking and the living room and the fucking new car and all this shit. And she's massive amount of debt. Like she buried herself after she already bought a house after all of us helped her motherfucking stand here and flip some house to get her on her goddamn feet. This is how it works. Modern day goddamn fucking boomer families. It is what it is. Right? My grandmother had a house sitting on fucking 2 acres or acre and a half, right? In like this prime real estate. Fucking house for like fucking $1 million, some nonsense, right? You know what I mean? Literally, like she went to her fucking husband's brother, who's like a giant real estate dude, and said, "Hey, look, I need to sell this house so I can, you know what I mean, like go and retire and like have some nursing care," because she was, you know, had some health problems. And he told her, "I'll give you 100 grand for it." Her brother, you know what I mean? Her fucking husband's brother. Like it is like the boomers are fucking trash, dude. They don't give a shit about nobody, you know what I mean, but their fucking selves, right? And they're like, listen, you guys need to work and bootstrap. None of them were bootstrap shit. All of them were given damn near everything in their fucking lives. And they fucking, once they got everything they needed, they kicked the fucking ladder out from everybody else and said, fuck it. You know what I mean? They climbed the ladder and then kicked it out and said, nobody else is getting up.
And then they leveraged it all 10-1.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Not
and
only
then, you know what I mean, they're gonna stand here and they're gonna bury all of us.
Beating people with the ladder.
Yeah, and then they bitched about the fact, you know what I mean, that like, yo, we don't have a ladder. like it's so like, oh, you mean you grew up in a fucking era when then like 60% of the workforce was fucking union and you ended up getting cost of living allowance raises every fucking year, and you paid like fucking $12 for your house and $10 for your car, and you paid fucking 5 cents a gallon for gasoline? No way, right? You were successful. Holy shit! I don't know how the hell you managed that, right? They grew up in an era where literally a guy could get fired on Thursday would have a better job with a higher pay rate, fucking Friday morning.
Like, I don't know, Tom. It sounds like they really pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, you know? Like, we could really learn something from them.
Whoa, Molly. Like, a lot of them did go out of the workforce. Like, they did pass the halfway point in boomers retiring, something like, what was it, 2 years ago? But the thing is, with all this inflation and with the all that other bullshit, as well as, like, the stock market not, like, it's not fucking the bottom isn't dropping out quite yet, but it's not doing, like, fantastic at the moment. Like, boomers are moving back into the workforce. My dad is working again. Like, he unretired, and that's a thing that's happening right now. And the thing is that even if 90% of the boomers were out of the workforce by now, the 10% that are still there that stayed in, guess what? They're all fucking CEOs. They're people that their job is to just be there, be the boss, and collect a paycheck. They can just stay in those jobs until they fucking die. Basically, all of Congress is still boomers.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Are still boomers. Hey, what's up, Florida?
Yo, you know what?
Dude?
What's up?
What the real bitch is?
What?
You know what the bitch? Yeah, I hear you. But hang on, wait. You know what the? And they're working for like $5 an hour. The boomers are basically like Mexicans now, where they're working for like $5 a goddamn hour, right? And because they don't have to fucking pay the bills that the rest of us fucking do. This is really the fucking problem with the goddamn boomers. Say like, oh, I have to go back into the workforce because I can't afford my diabetes medication, right? And they're in there fucking like, I just need to make $300 a month. I'll put in 80 hours a week for that. Don't worry about it. And then we're all sitting there going like, no, you need to make $27 an hour or 50, right? You need to be expensive because we need to be expensive. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, no, you know what another problem?
Tell your boomer tales.
No, a lot of the problems I have with the boomers, even the company I work for now still, a lot of them have like the best shifts. Like for me, I really want to work early morning to early afternoon. But
I'm sorry.
Okay. Molly, who the fuck taught the boomers their skills and who didn't teach their kids skills? You fuck up. Like the millennials.
Wait a minute. The boomers were buying The boomers were buying houses working at grocery stores. Shut the fuck up. What are you talking
They were
about?
buying houses, working
Like,
fast
average-
food.
Cover that.
Yeah, they were literally buying houses, working at restaurants. What are you talking about, Melvin, Molly? Like, what? Are you high? Like,
We can't even buy cocaine with
Tell your
that.
boomer tales.
No, I was gonna say is a lot of the problems I have with the boomers as well. Like you guys said, is I've been trying to get for the past few years morning shift to afternoon so I can work out, do school, martial arts, live a life. These fuckers have been working the same stupid minimum wage job for like 50 years, and they're gonna plan to work the ones I talked to for like another 20 so they can retire. And I'm like, dude, this is why we can't get shit done because you old fucks just won't goddamn. I want to leave. I'm trying to do IT and shit or other trades. And these fuckers just take everything. It's like, fuck off. What? Why are you here? Where's your family? Oh, you don't have a family because you threw them away because you're a boomer? Yeah, there we go. Like, we still have to deal with these old fucks. Like, Jesus, just go away.
Like, either
Die
that or
already.
move in with your fucking kids. And
They treated their kids like shit. That's why they can't.
yeah,
Just
but
fucking
like,
die already.
Yeah.
like eat your goddamn
they
pride.
treated all of
Apologize.
us like fucking dog shit, right? Like,
Again, my
treated
baby
all
boomer
of us
mom
like dog shit.
kicked out my grandmother. And she's like old and she can barely walk. And then I try to help her out. She gave me $5,000 in savings account. It's like, Jesus, and for nothing. That's how disgusting the boomers are.
Yeah, like
They're fat.
retirement, the way retirement is supposed to work is not you have a bunch of fucking investments that you pull down and just live independently and fucking suck down a bunch of fucking pension money. No, the way it's supposed to work is you move in with your kids, you are then free childcare, and you pay for your own food.
No, wait, I got a better idea. No, even better. Your kids never leave. They stay, have kids of their own, and they take care of you when you get really old so you can watch their kids so they can do stuff. They don't have to get babysitters. They don't have to do any of that shit. And so you're all a family from day one.
I mean,
agree.
multi-generational housing is definitely has its advantages. But like I'm saying, if you have to move out in this type of thing,
I mean, in the rare
You're not
cases,
wrong.
yes, but it should be like no bullshit. Had it just been me and my grandma the whole time, I swear to God, I would have been more than happy to stay with her and take care of her in her old days because she was great to me. She taught me how to swim, taught me how to ride a bike. She was there. She was nice. She was great. I'd be like, Grandma, I'm not fucking moving. I'm staying here taking care of your beautiful old ass. And guess what? You taught me that shit when I was a kid. You're going to teach your great grandkids because I'm having kids and you're going to spend time with them. You're going to live the last days in happiness and joy and then go out peacefully in your bed. And then, yeah, that's how I would want it to be. But I can't because my boomer piece of shit mom.
I mean, let's be real here. More than likely, she wouldn't die in bed. She'd probably slip in the shower and die. But I feel
You get what I mean. I would at least try to pay her back the best way I could.
Yeah, like dying in your own home is like the best way to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's how you're supposed to go out as a human being.
Yeah. Minimum wage was like $1.25, but gasoline was like fucking
2 cents.
Yeah, 10 cents a gallon or some shit. Like,
no, it's fucking Mike. What up, Mike? Yo.
Oh,
Mikey,
shit.
Mike.
Yo. What up?
Yo,
Bro,
we're
how
shitting
was
on
you
boomers.
enjoying yourself?
Crying about the boomers on New Year's Eve, bro. What the fuck's going on?
Yo, I don't know, bro.
sometimes
We
you
got
gotta
on the
play
boomers,
whack-a-mole.
then Melvin started hopping in the chat and talking reckless, and then we just stayed there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we started off on some religious shit. You know what I mean?
The
Boomer
boomer,
Defense Squadron on deck.
But why are the
boomers
boomers
can
still
be-
alive? They're too old to be alive.
listen, they could be explained in one word, and you're going to understand all of the problems we have. You're going to understand why the boomers are the way they are. It's just one word, okay? Are you ready? Cocaine.
I was gonna say
Gen X is
medicine,
cocaine.
but yeah,
No,
Gen X is
I'm serious.
cocaine.
Look, I'm serious. Look, the boomer generation was so coked out that even years after, they're still not back yet. Okay?
It's
fried.
all the lead in the gasoline.
Yeah, I've heard.
That's what it was.
They're fried.
Yeah. I've heard lead. I heard lead, bro. Like lead paint and lead in the gasoline and in the air. Like just, and what it does is it causes like disassociation and disattachment.
bro.
and you end up like where like you just don't care about anybody else but yourself.
Maybe they put lead in the cocaine. All right,
Yo,
but
Prime, real quick, the gold standard doesn't really make too much of a difference. Like, it was something entirely different.
I mean, it did back then. It did back then.
do you know how
It did
this
back then.
generation?
But like,
smokes
yo,
weed?
Mike, I'm be real with you, bro. Like, yo, they did. Yeah.
Do you know how we smoke weed in this generation? How it's like a normal like recreational drug that everybody kind of does a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how cocaine was.
I feel like that was a Gen X thing.
No, it wasn't. It was a boomer thing.
I mean, it was the 80s. Like, cocaine was the 80s.
You know,
Weed
Well,
was
in the
70s.
80s,
No,
it
I
was
mean, so that
all
was
Grand
like a
Theft Auto
Gen X
Vice
thing.
City and shit.
You got the 70s, right? Which is like all kinds of crazy hippie drugs. And then you got the 80s. So first they got hit with acid and fucking mescaline and fucking all kinds of crazy. So they were all tripped out. And then they did the cocaine to come back to reality. But they got too focused on reality and focused right on the center, on themselves. You know what I mean?
I
It is
agree.
a drug
And by the way,
warfare.
the cocaine was processed with lead and diesel.
There you go.
You know, I mean, that's how you process
Yeah.
cocaine with diesel and shit. You know what I mean?
Slap boxing at 3 a.m.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, leaded cocaine, bro.
Bro, I'm
Leaded
telling
cocaine.
you,
I feel you. You know what I mean?
it sounds really crazy, but like the reality is that whole generation did tons of cocaine, which causes cocaine psychosis, and it actually causes changes in the brain that are irreversible, right? And a lot of those changes are like, you don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it's that, and you have to also take into consideration the highly effective and developed mind control systems and propaganda they were being subjected to while they were doing the cocaine the whole time. So their whole reality is not real, and they were on drugs the whole time.
I mean, maybe for some, but I just think
All
they
right,
just
yo,
got
I
a lot
gotta
of.
break something down. Melvin, no, wait. I gotta break this down real quick. Like, yeah, so the 1930s was the right to be able to like stand here and trade your gold in as a regular citizen, right? But like, yo, the 19 they actually had the gold standard for all large like large institutions like governments and like large banks, like giant like central banks and shit. They were allowed to trade their dollars in for gold. The rate went from $35 an ounce to $45 an ounce over that period of time between 1940 and 1971, when Richard Nixon finally ended up saying that dollars into gold, right? You know what I mean? And that was something that actually did happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, it wasn't Johnson, it was Nixon. Molly, like, a real shit, bro. I have no idea like why you're still talking. You need to just like go read a book or some shit though. Like, real talk. Go read some stuff. Like, go educate yourself. Like, oh, you honestly like probably are just really misinformed about things. You know what I mean? What you got, TK? What do you got?
What'd you post?
I have no. What are we looking at?
Looks like a graph.
Yeah, 1971. Yeah. Productivity and the take-home pay of the regular American worker. Yeah.
Income.
Yeah. Ain't that great?
Relentless
Income and
50-year.
productivity decoupled in 1978 and never went back.
Yep. Yeah. And notice that this website keeps fucking going. Real GDP per capita and median male income. Boop. Boop.
Uh-oh, all gone.
Both spouses working, only husband working, wife only working. That's never been real common. Income inequality. Boop.
You got the
Net
elephant
wealth.
graph?
I think that's this, isn't it? It's
No, that's
probably
not
in
the
here
elephant
somewhere.
graph. Yeah, the elephant graph's a great one. You know what I mean?
Yo, I got
What
a
up?
perfect fucking story that fits into this, and it gives you a real life example of why this happens.
House
So,
prices.
essentially, we see all this stuff going on these graphs, right? But none of this shit is reflecting what people do that are not fucking sucking the tit of the system, right? So when you don't associate with this system and you do your own shit, that's not going to appear in this graph. That's like a small percentage that's not getting recorded, right? Because that's the real way out of the slavery. So the way out of the slavery is to own land, right? Not pay rent. You know what I'm saying? Build your own shit, put your money into your own shit, and work and fucking make enough money to support your family. That's the way out of the fucking slavery, unfortunately. But
yeah, but you still got land taxes and shit. But
I'll tell you a story about a dude, right? So this dude and his wife, they were down on their luck and they couldn't figure out, you know, how to figure out life. So I said, yo, you could come out to the Ozarks and, you know what I'm saying, you could start your life here and you could have a piece of fucking my land. Just take it. Just go ahead, build your fucking house on it, right? And so they made it about a month or so in a camper. And then they realized that they can't fucking handle the Ozarks, right? And that's because they're too soft. Because they've been living off the system their whole life. They don't understand how to actually exist. And so they don't have any fucking skills. And they're just too soft to survive in the real reality. That's the truth. People are too soft to survive in real reality and actually fucking survive. And so they need the system to survive, which offers them a mediocre existence, but they don't actually have to suffer as badly.
yeah, but they keep getting ground in the dirt is part of the thing. Because they keep pumping people into this bitch. Like
you could leave the system, but you have to have the ability to fucking deal with a lot of suffering.
Well, there's that, and there's the fact that like you can leave the system if you're like fucking Cappy and you were fortunate enough to not like be born into it, right? Because there's a lot of people that like they're fucking 18 years old and they're fucking knee deep in fucking student loan debt and all this type of thing before they really have
college for fucking engineering.
Right. Because like, and as soon as you got like that,
you guys are doing it all wrong. I went to school just to get money from my school, and I'm not paying any of that money back.
Dude, you can't expect like an 18-year-old raised by the public school system to know this shit, dude. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but like, how, like, there's no way for them to know this shit.
To know what?
Like, that there's a way to opt out if you just like nut up enough. Like, I'm not saying that it's impossible to opt out if you got the balls, you've got the knowledge and this type of thing.
Or if you got parents to help you out and just not force you to get something or kick you out.
Well, here's the thing, bro. I don't think parents actually want to kick their kids out, but at the end of the day, right, they're not trying to support a grown-ass man who's just going to sit in the fucking basement and beat off the hentai all day.
I mean, most of the French parents that did.
You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, people didn't just sit in their fucking house. Even bum-ass niggas would go outside.
I mean, yeah, but back in the day,
like you had to, because you had to go. Yeah, but you had to go earn. That was the big thing, right?
Yeah,
is you had to go earn something. You had to go make. I mean, you had to go make a way for yourself, like the because like your parents weren't just going to give you like like liquor, or give you like the drug or whatever it was.
All right, take care, guys.
Have a good one, Florida.
Night, Florida.
Cheers.
Right, and that's kind of where shit's at, right? And that's where our mentality like has to be at when it comes to this type of shit. Is like, yo, all right, well. Yeah, you don't want people just hanging out playing video games, eating off the fucking hentai and shit, right?
You're right.
Goddamn, dog, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good, bro.
Goddamn, too much.
It sound like you over there dying and shit.
I'm hitting that pen, nigga. Come on,
yo, stop hitting
those vapes are bad for you,
bro.
Vapes are bad for you.
I agree.
Like you're inhaling heavy metals and shit.
Listen, don't be a bitch, all right?
That's fucking metal, bro.
If I want to smoke fucking metal, bro, let me smoke metal. All right.
What is just fucking?
I'm not
stopping.
stopping.
Like, listen, you're dying.
Let's put some
You're dying, bro. Like you're dying on our stream.
Look, I sound like I'm dying. I'm fine.
Yeah, no, he's
I mean,
fighting
we're all
lung
dying,
cancer,
but you're
and, like, he's
dying
winning.
like slightly faster than the rest of us.
It's okay. It's all right.
I'm probably dying at about the same rate as you are, but that's because like I'm missing major internal organs.
Here's the difference. All right. I'm so not a bitch that even if our bodies were in the same condition, you'd still die first.
I'm so not a bitch that I ripped out my guts because I don't need them.
You what?
I ripped out my colon because I don't need it.
You ripped your own colon out?
Yeah, by myself.
That don't sound good.
It was holding me back.
You don't need that colon.
Yeah, but he's not a bitch. Yeah, fuck that colon. Unnecessary. See, this is what I'm saying, bro. Like, again, like, you sound like you're fucking dying, right? Like, here's the problem, okay? So, like, I smoke like a chimney, right? But, like, you know, I'm not sickly. Like, I feel like, Mike, like, I feel like you're kind of sickly and shit, man. Like, every time I talk to you, nigga, you got some shit going on with you, like, fucking physically.
Yeah,
maybe it's because I always talk to you in the
with you,
wintertime. Like, you be breaking out.
I'm going to be real. I've had chronic bronchitis, right? Since I'm about, I don't know, 12.
Have you tried coconut oil?
Look, I get bronchitis with change of the weather. I get a runny nose, right? I've had my adenoids and tonsils removed, so the shit just drips straight into my fucking lungs, and it makes me cough. Not a big deal. It's like allergies, you know what I mean? A little bit of mucus, and it tickles my lungs, and it makes me cough. It's not a big deal.
Like I'm not memeing. Have you tried coconut oil?
But no.
Like I got a chronic sinus thing where sometimes like my sinuses will swell up and I get a headache and I can't breathe through my nose. Then I eat a spoonful of coconut oil and it goes away.
You see, I don't get the building up in my sinuses.
Yeah, and I'll be real. Like, you sound, you sound worse. You know what I mean? Like you usually do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you always had kind of like that raspy thing, like, man, how you doing, man? I'm Mike, right? But like, now you sound like worse. You sound almost like you're like a waitress at a fucking like 1940s bar. You know what I mean?
You sound like a fish tank filter.
No filter and shit.
Bro, I got a fucking a little rasp in my voice from coughing and shit from this thing that I'm getting over, bro.
You sound like you was smooching with sandpaper.
People were getting sick all over the country recently. Did you guys
As
know
one
about
does
this?
when it gets cold.
Yeah, so I got sick and I'm getting over it. I don't know why you guys are making such a big deal out of a sick, bro.
Yeah. Like there was
got medical degrees or some shit, bro.
You got the super.
I actually do have a CMA certification. Yeah, I've got a CMA certification. I can hand out.
I mean, we're concerned about you, bro. Like, we are allowed to be concerned about you. You know what I mean? Like, you're out there in the Ozarks. You know what I mean? Like, fucking all on solo and shit. We are allowed to be worried about you, my brother. All of us are.
Yeah, man. You drop dead, and that means all your kids run into the woods, and then we have a problem.
Nah, bro, we're good. We're doing fine.
Like, you want to see like the fucking like the hills have eyes? That's how it starts.
Yeah, bro, my kids are well trained. All right, they'll be all right.
four. Yo, man, listen, bro. No, all right. Yo, you'll have 4 motherfucking like Sicilian kids running into the goddamn mountain and shit. Half Sicilian, half Cuban kids running into the mountain. By the way, tell Mims I said hi. Right, fucking 4 of them motherfuckers running into the mountain. That sounds terrible.
It's a bad day for anybody.
Like, yo, they're gonna start like just going out there and
they're
bro, like
to form a fucking
Rambo
war
motherfuckers
tribe.
just running around the mountain. Yeah.
They're just gonna be in the woods. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like we should get a % of all the food in this neighborhood. I don't know why I feel this way.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, we are concerned because if you die, then that just leaves those 4 motherfuckers on solo. And like, I feel like your 4 kids would raise the motherfucking crime rate up like 30% in a whole nation.
Yeah, they thought I was rebellious, bro. I wasn't even half Cuban.
Man, like you have like 4 Mediterranean Genghis Khans.
Bro, they have half bloodline that just says rebel, and the other half of the bloodline just says curl. And they're like, well, I guess that's what I do.
Yeah.
So that's why I got to teach them about God. Because if I don't, I'm gonna have problems.
Yeah, if you don't,
anyway,
they're gonna
fucking
reform
back to the conversation at hand. Yo, look, here's what it's hitting for. I've been streaming for like an hour and 45 minutes, and I got to take a nap before, like, like this female shows up tonight, and do what I do, right? And I got some like crab legs and some lobster and shit, or not lobster, shrimp, and some brew. And I got all types of things I'm trying to do right now. But at the moment, I'm gonna get off of this bitch and lay down for like an hour or so. So I'm gonna holla at y'all motherfuckers. Man, look, I love y'all. Thank you everybody for coming out. Yo, Mike, I apologize I didn't show up last night. I ended up getting caught up with some other shit.
Hey, it's all good, bro.
TK, thank you. Cappy, yo, thank you for coming through. We got some work we're gonna be putting in here soon. I'm gonna holla at y'all motherfuckers. Y'all know the deal. I'm up out of here. Peace like one. I'm out. And stream.